heart is beating very fast. Why? What happened?
Male 8 had a fall, hit his head, is drowsy and confused.
2 meters or 6 feet. And she did injure her head.
Hello, I'm Anthony DeMonte, Chief of the Ottawa Paramedic Service. In this video, you will get to see and hear from a few of the men and women who work in our communications center, or as some call it, the dispatch center. They will explain the important role that they play in taking calls from the 911 center, prioritizing the medical emergency, and dispatching a team of paramedics to a variety of medical emergencies that we respond to on a daily basis. Our modern high-tech center is one of the busiest in the province, taking calls for medical emergencies such as heart attacks, respiratory emergencies, motor vehicle collisions, industrial accidents, assaults, childbirths, and much, much more. The Communications Centre handles calls and dispatches paramedic teams not only to the City of Ottawa, but also for the counties of Prescott and Russell and Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry. In 2013, our centre managed more than 115,000 calls, responding close to 150,000 vehicle movements. There are 2 task-specific stations within the centre. The call-taking station, where communications officers expertly handles the incoming calls from the 911 centre. By asking a series of key questions, we can determine the type, severity of the medical emergency. This allows the communications officers to prioritize the medical emergency and send it to the dispatch station. The dispatch station assigns the call to the closest, most appropriate paramedic crew. All information, including location of the call, access codes for apartment buildings, and medical information, is provided to the responding paramedic crew. A superintendent is always on duty in the communications center, assuring the highest of standards are met for rapid call taking and dispatching for all life-threatening emergencies.
My name is Andrew, and I'm a communications officer with the Ottawa Paramedic Service, and I'm working at a call-taking station. All calls for medical emergencies are sent to our dispatch center. I ask a series of questions that will determine the nature of the problem and how serious it is. While asking these questions, the call information is sent to a dispatching station, and a paramedic crew is sent to the emergency. There are a lot of questions that I have to ask, so it's important to stay calm, to answer as best as you can, and to never hang up until I tell you to. Also, I'll provide instructions like gathering medications, making the person comfortable, and to call back if there's any change in the patient's condition or we find out more information.
If you can gather up all of her medications, including empty bottles, and give them to the paramedics when they arrive. And if safe to do so, make her comfortable. Call back for condition changes or if you find out more information, but we're on our way.
My responsibilities here as a dispatcher is to receive the information that's provided from the call taker. Now, the call taker obtains the information from the public and relays it over to myself. My job is to disseminate that information towards the closest, most appropriate ambulance that will reach the patient. So I receive the information, I look at all the data that's in it, and then I choose who is going. I provide information to the paramedics over the radio, and this information consists of the general vicinity of the area, followed by the exact location where the patient is located and needs assistance. I also provide them with the nature of the call, the priority of the call, and any hazards on scene that we should be aware of, like any fire, anything that may put the paramedics at risk.
Male 8 had a fall, hit his head, is drowsy and confused. Over.
Once the crews are on scene and have assessed the patient on a primary level, they'll contact me and ask me what hospital they should be going to. Now, depending on the severity of the emergency itself, we would direct the paramedics to the closest, most appropriate hospital. So in life-threatening cases, it would be to the closest hospital in Ottawa, of which we have 4. If it's a less urgent matter, they'll be distributed evenly amongst the 4 hospitals in order to work in conjunction with those hospitals, not to overload the system and to provide the most effective care to the patients. Once they've cleared the hospital and they've come back on the radio and letting us know that they have offloaded their patient, then they're ready for redeployment within the city. At that time, it's my responsibility to look at the maps, figure out where they should be placed. Now, depending on the number of ambulances we have in the city, it's very important to have an even distribution based on call volume. That is done by statistics and research, and we place the ambulances in the most appropriate location within the city to cover the most area possible.
My main role as a communications superintendent is to oversee the daily operations of my particular platoon. I help resolve any conflicts or disagreements that there might be throughout the day. I'm also there to make the tougher decisions that might not be so black and white. And I work very closely with the superintendent operations in order to maximize our vehicle usage and resolve any problems on that side as well. The communication officers have various tools at their disposal. They use a computer-aided dispatch system that is equipped with predetermined protocols for call taking in order to determine priorities and to continue the flow of call to get specific information for the paramedics. In addition, in order to pick the best resources, they have GPS-enabled maps to see the specific locations of our vehicles in real-time feed. The system also allows them to make a choice of vehicle and provides them with suggestions for that they can either agree with or make their own decision based on their own personal knowledge and training that they've had.
The men and women who work in the center are the first of the first responders, ready to deal with all types of medical emergencies. They are the calm and reassuring voices when someone calls 911 for a medical emergency, be it for themselves, a co-worker, or a family member. Our communications officers work in a fast-paced environment where seconds can make the difference between life and death. I'm extremely proud of the men and women who work under very stressful circumstances and who dedicate themselves to help the citizens of this community in their time of need. Thank you for watching.